What's stopping you? Really, what is it that's stopping you? Chances are it's stuff that's going on in your mind. We are usually our own worst enemy and our own greatest critic. And learning to tame that inner critic is one of the most important lessons that we can learn. Hi, I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish, and welcome to a series for those dreaming of making the leap from being an employee to being a business owner. Now, this is episode 16, and today I'm talking about our inner critic and what we can do to kind of put a bit of a stop on it. And my special guest today is Lynley Evans. Now, before we begin, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do. So first of all, if you know someone who is really interested in this topic, please invite them over by pressing the arrow that's somewhere down below me. Hi, Kathy. And at the moment, we are going live in My Time TV. I'm not sure if we're going live anywhere else, but just check and make sure you're at the right place. So, do you constantly find yourself having nagging thoughts about not being good enough, not deserving things that are good in your life, being a failure? Do you sometimes feel just like totally overwhelmed by self-doubt? Now, all of this is coming from your inner critic. It's kind of like your own internal bully. It undermines your desire to achieve and have success. So definitely not your best friend. What can we do about it though? So the first thing to remember, which I tell all of my clients, is that your thoughts are not you. They don't define you. And they don't control you unless you actually allow them to have that power. Now, this can be a hard thing to remember when that voice is seeming to take over. It seems so real that it seems like the voice of truth. But it really isn't. And self-compassion is the way to actually defeat this little critic going on inside you. Now, how do we do that? I'm going to give you a few steps. So start by actually becoming aware of when the voice is there and what it's kind of saying. And then challenge those critical ideas, that critical thought pattern. Turn it into something that's true for you, but is positive. So if your inner critic is saying something like, oh, I'm hopeless because I always make mistakes and I'm never going to achieve what I want to, turn it around. Okay, and it can be something like, I can learn and grow from the things that don't go to plan, and this makes me stronger, and I'm going to be more likely to achieve my goal. So it's still the truth, but you're changing it into a positive truth, and you're defeating that power. Now, if you find that the thoughts still persist, or they're kind of getting in the way of something that you really want to do, a useful visualization to do is just kind of imagine scooping up the thought, kind of crumpling it up, tossing it out in the rubbish bin so it's gone. That can be quite a helpful thing to do. But ultimately, the best thing to do is to cultivate a mindset where you're actually willing to embrace imperfection. We so often buy into this idea of having to be perfect. But the reality is we're not. Nobody is. And that's where the self-compassion comes into it. Accept yourself as not perfect, and that's okay. And then send yourself some feelings of acceptance and self-compassion. Treat yourself like you would a close friend who's feeling down or struggling with what you are. So see how you go with putting that into place. Now, my special guest today is Lynley Evans, who is a coach and hypnotist who works at Good Evans Consulting. I love that name, where she's been successful in coaching and is currently assisting men and women 40 years or over to develop career confidence. Now, Lynley went through a difficult time herself early in her life, particularly at work. And this then brought her to finding a way through all her emotions, her limiting beliefs, and the feeling of being trapped in an environment that didn't suit her. Now, we're going to discuss some of those things with her shortly. She has an online program, which is the Work Confidence System, and it's the fastest way to move from overwhelm and feeling that you can't cope at work. And we've talked about this before. And then being able to ask for what you want at work. So this program takes you through dealing with your emotional resilience, developing a positive mindset, and then learning what you want and how to actually ask for it. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, I have put a link to her Facebook page in the comments. Please check that out. Now, Lynley is also a writer, and she writes monthly articles for a women's holistic magazine called Sibella Publications. And her theme that she's been writing on this year is the pathway to love and compassion, which kind of fits in with what I was talking about before. Now, outside of her business, she is a really active person. She impresses me with how active she is. She is actually studying to be a fitness instructor at her local gym, and she really likes the weights area and fitness dancing, both of which have benefited her enormously, as I'm sure it would benefit all of us. So it is my pleasure today to welcome Lynley to the show and to actually get a chance to talk to her and find out a little bit more about her story, and I think some of the stories of her clients. So welcome, Lynley.
Thank you, Marianne.
So it's lovely to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to finding out a little bit more about your backstory, but also a little bit about some of the people that you've actually helped as well. I've sort of enjoyed reading some of the stories that you sent me that I know we can now talk about a little bit. So maybe let's start a little bit just with an overview of what your business is all about, and perhaps dive a little bit more into the kinds of people that you actually help.
Certainly. Well, first of all, as you've already stated, but I'll restate it, that I help men and women 40 years and over to develop career confidence. Yes, it's partly comes from what I've been through, because I know what the difficulties I had, but I also saw the difficulties that others were having in the workplace in dealing with some of the different personalities, and also the stress that people are under. So it takes you from being overwhelmed and unable to cope at work to being able to ask for what you want at work. So the first stage of that is about emotional resilience, where we uncover all the negative emotions, the limiting beliefs, and we do a bit on forgiveness as well, to get you through to feeling like you're a worthy person, and feeling like you haven't got a lot of, as you said, the inner critic talking to you. Then we move on to positive mindset, and I go through a process that I've now renamed it to stress dynamics. Stress dynamics is it goes through a lot of hypnosis. It goes through meditation, journaling, all the mindset things that you need to move you into that positive mindset. There's quite a bit in that area. And then we go into what I call bouncing forward. Now, bouncing forward, it does go into a bit of shame and vulnerability. It goes into positive psychology. It then goes into an area trying to work out what you want, because sometimes a lot of people don't actually know what they want to do at work. They are really stuck. I know I was. And then developing the communication skills to be able to ask for what you want, and finally doing the job. So that's basically what that's my 6-month program. I also have a 4-week program, which is the first stage of that, because many people are struggling with their emotions, particularly in this environment, this COVID environment, where people have gone through an awful lot of stress, and don't have got these negative emotions that are going everywhere at the moment. So, and people aren't dealing with things as well as they were. So,
that's true.
and I've had a few go through the program, and one it was really interesting because one lady reckoned I even benefited more than she did at one stage.
Yes, we do our own therapy when we're helping people.
She reckoned I got more confident from the process. So it's really interesting. And she was from she lived in Woodner, out of Port Lincoln, and we did a lot of it on phone and internet when it worked. We had a lot of internet problems with that client. So yes, there's been a few interesting cases that really come to light. So yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. I love helping people. So that's my passion.
Yes, and I know we haven't quite been able to get it up ready to have people access, but we do have a document that's a freebie that you're giving people to help them with their limiting beliefs as well today, that I'll put up in the comments once we're finished. Just need to do a bit of background.
That's an interesting one because it's actually a story about limiting beliefs, and then it gives you it's about a little boat, a wooden boat, and you throw the rotten bits out. And it gives you the instructions of what you need to do to remove them. So at the end of it, so it's a real metaphor for people to understand a little bit more about how it works. I just recently gave it to a friend of mine who's doing a fitness instruction course at the moment, and she was really struggling with limiting beliefs, whether she could really do this and that. So I sent that to her, and she could not believe it. She's got it on her fridge now, so she can read it all the time to remind her.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's the reminder, isn't it, that these things that you're thinking are not the reality. Sometimes that's what we need the big reminder on, isn't it?
That's right. And those beliefs that we've got are not real. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts, but we choose to take them on, and we just need to let them pass through.
Yes, exactly. And I noticed that you also do some NLP work as well, which is a lot of work around releasing all of the limiting beliefs and that kind of thing.
Yes, and I do timeline and matrix therapy as well, which are which take you back in time to an event that caused that, and we can get rid of a lot of those beliefs that you're really struggling with.
Yes, and both of those therapies I know are really powerful. I do some timeline therapy myself, but I know someone who does matrix therapy as well, and it's pretty amazing. It just gives you a whole different element, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. When I did my training, we started with timeline, and then I came to the advanced bit, and they didn't have advanced timeline, but they had advanced matrix. So I've got the best of both worlds. So so I'm trained in both.
Yeah, that's good. That's one of my things that I'd like to look at. But anyway, let's get back to talking about you a little bit more. All right. So we found out a little bit about your business and how you're helping people, but let's go back, because I'd be really interested to know why it was, like what the inspiration was for you to actually head in the direction that you did. So maybe tell us a little bit about your background in terms of work and, your experiences that kind of led you to moving into your own business.
Well, I was employed in a government agency, and I won't say exactly where, but I was actually bullied at work, and I was struggling physically and emotionally. there was one certain lady who bullied me to the point where I'd be sitting at my desk and she'd stand 2 inches behind me and talk to my colleague across the road, and was so afraid I could not move. And because of what happened day in, day out, I eventually ended up in emergency. So I know how severe it can be. My doctor told me 2 years later that I was lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
So I had a huge fight to come back. We were going through an amalgamation at work as well, and I decided to take some long service leave to work out my direction, because I knew I couldn't go down that path for the rest of my life. It was affecting my health, and I was not in a good way. So by this stage I'd hit the gym, and I had one fitness instructor who also had a wellness business, and I went and saw her for one of her, when she was just starting up in that business. She was actually a physiotherapist, and she was also trained in psychology, but she was going down the track of positive psychology. And I did a few courses with her, and it indicated that I was really interested in this area. And so then I was just looking, and I found coaching. And while I was on long service leave, I started my coaching course. But of course, then I needed to find a niche. Now, niches most coaches find it hard to find a niche. They don't understand, because you've got to be particular. You can't be a coach of everything, which we all would like to be, but we have to niche it down. And it became obvious that the best place for me to go was what I'd experienced. And so I started off as the bully-proof strategist, but a lot of people would just jump from job to job all the time, and so they didn't have money to spend on coaching, which they actually needed at that time, and they admit that freely. So I changed the messaging to being developing your career confidence, because that encompasses them, but it also encompasses other people that can benefit from these types of things. And I know for a fact that many people have said, yes, we like the way it's being put now, because there's I've got quite a few people in my group that actually are they're interested, and they're becoming more engaging. So this is a good sign.
That is a good sign, yes.
And I felt like if I did something that I had been through, I'd gain more trust from people as well. And obviously, as we know, trust is a must. As people gain more trust in you, that's when you're a bit more successful. But once I finished my coaching course, I found that I needed to get help for myself before I could get my word out there. I had all these limiting beliefs and stuff, and self-critic going through my head. I reckon I probably had more than most. And I had to deal with these. And I remember sitting down one night, and I was reading a book on rejection, and I was in tears. And it was just me. This is what I'm going through. So I was really coaching myself at that point. But I sought extra help, and I've had some EFT, tapping, or emotional freedom therapy. I've been on several self-love retreats, and just about every time there was anything to do with self-image or self-worth, I'd be there. I'd be doing it. I just wanted to get over this, and once I knew that what the problem was, I had to deal with these. It's a hard job moving all of those emotions, but it can be done if you're determined enough and want to see the results. So yeah, I think that was the switch. Reading that book, it really made a difference.
So what was the name of the book again?
It was, I can't remember the name. I know it's just on rejection.
Oh, okay. Yes, because it sounds like it was quite a powerful book.
Oh, it was. I just fell to pieces.
Yeah, I mean, there's often just those points in time, just that one thing that just seems to, kind of open us up emotionally, doesn't it? So it might be something that you do with someone, something you read, or something that you hear about, but often it's just that one thing that really starts the whole ball rolling, so to speak.
Yeah, it starts the process, and it makes you realize that you need to do something about this, and you need to be consistent with it. That's what I found is, unless you're consistent with it, it fades off, and the more. But it's like anything; everything needs practice, and so you need to just practice, practice, practice. I know part of a few of the self-love retreats that I went to included mirror work, and that's just standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself how much you love yourself into your own little eyes, as to so as you're talking to your inner child, and that's amazing what the difference that does. And I needed to do that sort of work to be able to get out and do Facebook Lives, to be speaking here tonight, to do all the things you need to do in business. Unless you can do that, and I actually tried to do Facebook Lives before I did that, and it just doesn't work.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yes, it's interesting how you really do have to remove some of those blocks, and then things become much easier. And I've sort of talked to the viewers about that experience for me over time as well, with different things that I've done. So yeah, it's interesting that you've had a similar experience, but coming at it with a different triggering points that made that difference for you. Yeah. All right. So some interesting stuff for you, obviously, happening to actually get you to the point of being able to get your business going. So were there any other things in particular that you needed to overcome, or that you needed to put into place to actually get your business up and going, and be able to leave your job? Or had you already left your job at this time?
Hadn't left my job. There were a few things that went on since this amalgamation. There was a lot of they were always picking on me, the new people. They wanted to get rid of their older staff. Now, so we had this issue, and because I was one of the most experienced there, I was the next in line. So because I'd done all this work on myself and helped myself so much, and of course they saw all these changes in me, they said to me one day, we know you've done all this work on yourself, so we want to help you. Well, so what did they call help? They sent me off to doctors and specialists and everyone to be tested and have this test and that test. And I mean, and the doctors and the specialists all said I was fine. In the end, my doctor actually, she ended up putting me on a stress leave for a few months. and we put in a compensation plan as a claim as well. I mean, obviously it didn't get accepted, but it gave me a break away from there. And I said the claim probably should have gone in years ago, but I wouldn't have been in an emotional state to cope with it. So she put it in then and gave me a break of a few months, and then I came back to work. And so we gradually got back to where we were, and I just put up with so much that I sort of sent a message to HR and said, have you got any redundancy packages going? They came back just off the moment, and they came back and said, no, we don't. However, there's a section in the Act that allows you, because of the work situation you've been forced into, because it doesn't suit your personality, for you to apply for a redundancy. So I said, oh, okay, well, let's see what it comes, what the figures are, see what we, and I thought, well, it's worth having a go, because obviously this place is not helping me. So I put it in, and the figures came back, and it was nearly a year's salary. So I thought, well, that's worth it. I'll take that, and I can work on other things in that year while and work out my direction and where I'm going. So that's what I've been doing this year. So I've been working on the business side, but I am now officially, as of a few days ago, a fitness instructor. So
okay, well done.
So I've got that qualification under my belt, and I've got to write resumes and everything for that side of things. The college I did it through have got gyms in mind to send me to, but they said get your resume in over the weekend, and then we'll send it off to EFM next week when we get back after the long weekend. So who knows? I could be working before as well, but I'd still be doing my business side. But it also gives a bit of income. It's only it's casual work, so I pay by the hour. So it comes whatever comes in, but it's all beneficial to me for my long term. So yeah. And because then I tell them I'm a life coach as well, and they say, oh, perfect, because they both go together, and you meet people that need action. A lot of people hit the gyms for emotional reasons, so you need people that can cope with those emotions as well as the physical. So yes,
exactly.
They're pretty wrapped with that. So
that sounds really good. So what have you found perhaps the most interesting or the biggest learning that's come from actually starting your business during this year? Obviously you've had a little bit of a buffer from having the package that you took, but what's been probably your biggest struggle or the biggest things that you've had to really deal with in terms of your business?
My biggest struggle has been getting clients, because my name wasn't out there enough. It's just starting to really get out there. So getting clients is more difficult when you rely on Facebook and things like that. I think if you've got the personal touch and know how to communicate directly with the people. And it's really interesting because I'm in the process of doing a course on connection, doing a super connected course, and I'm being taught how to actually turn conversations around into rather than just chatting into sales like conversations where you're not actually selling, but they won't say no what you do, they're then asking for it. So it's really It's called active listening. And so I'm being taught all this at the moment. So for another couple of weeks. So it's really quite interesting. But that has been probably my biggest struggle. Learning all the things you need to know in business. There's quite a lot, and you don't realize that when you're an employee, you don't realize what's involved. You've got no idea.
No, exactly. It really is a whole mindset change to go from being an employee to being a business owner, isn't it?
It certainly is. And I didn't realize this, and I had no idea. But the creation of a business was actually part of my coaching course. So I learned a bit through there, but at that stage, the college was still fairly new. So they didn't give us as much information as they give their students today. So a few of us have really battled, and you've had to go out really and go elsewhere to get the marketing knowledge, and know how to do it. And yeah, I've got one coach in Melbourne who was actually someone I trained with. So and she's been helping me along the way. So it's really quite interesting. She's just about a world leader in a few years. So yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how each person, as you've already said, has their own particular niche area, their own particular clients and focus and that kind of thing, and that can actually help each of us to make connections as well, because your particular focus is different to mine, and so on. So there's all ways that we can actually help each other and be a community
we can help
together
each
as
other.
well. Yeah,
that's rather
than sort of see each other as being, the competition and that kind of thing. I think it's much healthier to have that attitude of how can we help each other and kind of tap into that.
Yes, I agree. I think we can all help each other in helping each other grow our businesses. So as it makes it easier for us.
Definitely. All right. So let me see where we've kind of gone. We've gone on a little bit of a trip through my usual questions, but I think we're kind of at the advice part. So what advice would you give people who are thinking about making some kind of a big change in their life? So obviously this is around part of what your business is focusing on, people wanting to change how they're actually existing at work. So what would you have as your best advice for people looking at that kind of thing?
Well, it depends on what sort of change it is. If it's going into business, for instance, I would make sure I understand a lot about finances and systems, and how to get clients, how and what direction, and also looking at your mindset. I think that if you can solve your mindset problems before you leave work, that puts you in a great state to move it forward. And even if you can get it moving forward while you're at work, even better. I think that's really important. If it's just moving on to something completely different, like in my instance with the fitness, now that I did this, I hadn't decided I was doing this until the beginning of the year. I took my once I finished work, I had 1 week off, and then I went to Bali for a week. Came home, and I had some lunch with a couple of my ex-colleagues my birthday was in there, so they wanted to take me out for my birthday. So I went into the office, and that's when I realized I no longer belong. It took me one day after that to a few tears and bits and pieces that most people struggle with for a few months. But I recognize that, okay, so I've got to move my life forward. So yes, I've got the coaching and all of that side of things, but it had been mentioned time and time again. So I enrolled myself to do the Certificate 3 in fitness, which is the entrance into the fitness industry. And it went from there. So that was a good thing for me to do, and particularly over COVID, they opened everything up, so it made it really, all the theory I could get done really easily. It was the practical that was more difficult. So not that the practical was difficult, but gym access and that side of things was more
how
difficult.
to actually juggle it with COVID kind of thing.
That's right. So all in all, major changes, yes, you need to be prepared for them and understand exactly what you need to do to move you forward in both your mindset as well as the practicalities of what you're going to do.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the mindset is really important, but there is also that element of, do you actually know, all of the different things or have some sense of what they're about? Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got financial and you've got systems and so many computer sort of stuff. I was lucky. I'm very IT sort of orientated, so that part didn't worry me. And the finances, I used to work in a finance area at one stage, so I had the majority of the things that I needed. In that respect, it's more getting my name out there. That was my real challenge.
Yes, whereas for me, I mean, a little bit like you, IT fine, but just some of those systems that you need to have in place for an efficient business, I had no idea of that side of things. So that was kind of my big learning curve, was around that part of it. So I think we all have our own particular thing that's going to come up when we're making that big change, something that we may need to upskill on, learn a little bit more about, or get support with, perhaps.
That's right. There's a lot more to it than I'd ever anticipated.
Yes, and that's sort of really what this show is about, just helping people to know that there are all sorts of things you need to consider stepping into having your own business. It can be a great and amazing thing to do, following your passion, but you need to have a little bit of an understanding of what else could happen, what else you need to know. All right, so let's kind of finish up with what you've discovered as being either the top 3 beliefs that you think you need to be successful as a business owner, or are there some that you think we need to actually remove or adjust to help us be successful?
I think we need to have a high self-worth, to believe in ourselves, because it certainly will come through if you don't. Even doing Facebook Lives and things, once you do get there, I've found there's been a difference to what I am now to what I was, say, 12 months ago. I have people commenting about how much more confident I am online, and that way I'm getting more people liking and commenting on my posts, and I think that makes a huge difference. Lack of procrastination. If you don't take action, it won't happen. And procrastination is something that many of us suffer with. So I would say that that's one thing we need to stop when we start to procrastinate, and I'm as guilty as anyone. We tend to think about things, and then we don't get on and do them. And the other is fear. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. We need to be able to speak. You need to do Facebook Lives or maybe LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, social media. your preferences in social media, you need to be speaking and doing videos online. That is the way of the world, and unfortunately, just doing posts doesn't work
No.
as much as we would like it to. And also, interviews like this help as well, because they see you, they get to know you. They unless people can see you, they won't gain the trust that they need to get in you. Yeah, so I think that they would be my 3 big tips.
Yes. So definitely excellent ones to make sure that you've thought about and dealt with and so on. All right. That's kind of wrapping us up for today. It's been great having a chat with you. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you here.
My pleasure.
And I'll just remind everyone that if they are wanting to find out more about the different things that we've talked about, we've got your Facebook link there. And obviously, because you're doing your live videos and things, I'm assuming they can also tap in and see some of the videos that you've done previously as well, so they can get a sense of what you're about.
Yeah.
And as we've already said, I will be putting the link up to the interesting story metaphor to do with limiting beliefs. So I can't wait to read that now. I'll have to go back and have a good look at it. All right. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm just going to just say goodbye and then we'll drop you out of the screen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marianne.
Okay, so I hope you found that really interesting and informative. It was great having a chat with Lynley, and she's got some amazing knowledge and ideas about different things around mindset and also around business. So maybe check her out, see how she might be able to help you. And even if you are currently in a job and you're finding that you're really struggling, then she may be the perfect person to actually talk to and then see if, changing to your own business is really the right way for you to go as well. All right, so I'm just going to remind you what I talked about at the beginning. So remember, treat yourself with self-compassion. Don't give in to the inner critic. That critical voice inside your head is not your truth. So don't just go with what's coming up. There are reasons why they're coming up. Challenge it. Change what's coming through. Make it more positive. And most importantly, remember, nobody is perfect. And every mistake that you make is actually an opportunity for you to grow. So it's not a bad thing. It's actually a growth thing. Now, if you are really struggling with the inner critic and how you're actually feeling about yourself, then my Mind Reiki Kickstart program could be a great help for you. So it actually helps to let go of stress around situations, things that are irritating you, and it can also help to get rid of long-held beliefs that your inner critic keeps on bringing up. So by the end of the program, it will help you to feel much more positive, more calm, and more balanced emotionally, and actually feel confident to go ahead with what you're wanting to do in life. So if you're interested in that, if you want to just type mind into the comments and then I will get back to you with the details. Otherwise, I have put into the comments also some of my details, so you can head over to my Facebook page and check out some of the things that I do other than Mind Reiki. Or you can book in for a free discovery call where we can actually find out where you're at and how we can actually help you to move forward. So you can see those things in the comments. Now, next week, I will not be having Making the Leap episode 17 happening. I'm actually doing a course. So I will be coming back the next week when my special guest is Marianne Bennett, an amazing nutritionist. And I'm sure you'll be able to find some amazing things out from her in all sorts of ways. So please join me then. Have a great week and bye for now.